Now is your moment. We are united in purpose. Now it is time for us to be united in action.
It is the final day of the Conference of Parties 15 in Copenhagen, and all the involved stakeholders, including delegations, human rights activists, ministers and heads of state, await a miracle in the penultimate stage of the summit. They exchange pleasantries as they wait for the UN Secretary-General to comment on the proceedings. The Premier of China acknowledged the country's unique responsibility as a rapidly industrializing nation. The much-awaited US President Obama also spoke.
America's made our choice. We have charted our course. We have made our commitments. We will do what we say.
So would President Obama and other large players break the political deadlock at the summit? Initial predictions were grim.
It's been a disappointing morning. We've depended on the world leaders to come here to unlock the negotiations, and as we sit right now, that's not clear enough for us.
While the heads of states expressed earnest intentions of achieving an equitable treaty, several civil society organizations who have undertaken the groundwork on climate change issues spoke of their disappointments in their world leaders.
The United States has offered to fundraise with a bunch of countries and not to offer anything real.
Copenhagen is a rare moment of truth, perhaps the last chance to avoid destabilization of states and ecosystems and to save nations.
We also express our disappointment and frustration with the lack of progress made at this critical climate change meeting.
Only a few hours remaining before the end of the summit, the details on a concrete resolution were nowhere in sight. That was until a surprise meeting convened and an agreement was announced. Although modest and not legally binding, President Obama called it unprecedented progress.
Kyoto was legally binding, and everybody still fell short anyway. And so I think that it's important for us, instead of setting up a bunch of goals that end up just being words on a page, if we could set up a financing mechanism to help those countries that are most vulnerable, like Bangladesh, then we would be at least starting to reorient ourselves in a way that allows us to be effective in the future.
His sentiments were echoed by British Prime Minister Gordon Brown.
It's the first time that we are setting down for individual countries their national emission plan. What I want to see, though, is a treaty that brings all of this together.
So far, the agreement is confirmed to be between the US, China, India and South Africa, and although not legally binding in nature or comprehensive, it will be a platform for future global action on climate change. Preeti Nalu,